Do you have a bit? I have a question for you, but if you have a bit, we can do your bit.
All right. Ask your question. I don't have a bit.
Okay. Have you ever... So, folks, this is October 1st, right? We're going into the season of the spooky, right? I have a quick question.
It is the spooky season, yes.
Tis. Now, I have a curiosity question. Have you ever seen a ghost, had a paranormal experience, had anything nuts happen to you?
No.
Really?
But I've been ghosted. Does that count?
To the shock of no one. No, I'm fucking with you. That does not count.
No.
So you've never had a paranormal experience?
Weirdly enough, no. Like I'm a Mexican, which means that I have Mexican family members, which means that every single of my family members thinks that at some point they saw the devil appear before them in a ranch in the form of a dog, and they just kind of like yelled obscenities at it until it left, and now they think they're like they got a straight passage to heaven. So I think that's as closest as I think I have. As much as I am a fan of the spooky season, I am a fan of the spooky season in a very aesthetic way. Like, you know how people say, oh, Valentine's Day and Christmas are like just commercialized. I love the commercialized, okay? And Halloween is no different, okay? I eat that shit up. But if I'm with friends and we're at a Halloween party and we're all chilling and we're having fun, and I say, this is spooky, this is fun, and they go, hey, let's bust out a Ouija board, I am out of there before they can finish the sentence.
You fucking wuss.
Yes.
I wish I had friends that had the balls to bust out a Ouija board. I wish.
Well, those are not friends we're gonna have in common.
Which of your friends wanted to bust out a Ouija board? I will hook up. We will hang out, and we will bust out the Ouija board, and I will record it. All right, the whole fucking thing.
Well, this was a fun show. This was a fun podcast while it lasted. I guess it's just gonna be Fernie and me.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. It's gonna work totally.
No, it's not gonna work. We're gonna end up killing each other. No, nothing supernatural. And honestly, think whatever for that. Have you had?
I've only had. I count one experience. One where I'd be like, no, you know what? That was something fucked up. And I found out years later. So, folks, I'm going to go into an old story of mine. I think I was in third grade or second grade when this happened. So, I used to take the bus home, as most other kids, did in school. I would get home at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, wait for my parents to get home. They got home at 6. So I had a few hours by myself. Typically, I'd watch TV, maybe play some video games, eat snacks, the typical, 8, 9-year-old shit, right? So, there's one particular day, I get home, and every day, I always did around the house. I just did, right? So, I walked by my parents' room, doors open, lights off, TV off, no one's home. I go check my sister's room, doors open, lights off, TV off, everything's off, right? So, I go into my room, and I close the door, take off my shit, I change, I unwind a bit. I'm like, you know what? I want a snack. So I get up and I'm going to the kitchen and I see that my parents' door is closed. I'm like, oh, maybe mom or dad are home. So I open the door, lights are on, fans on, the TV is on, but this is back in the day, the TV was on mute and it had that big purple mute sign on the TV.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck? So I go to my sister's room. Same thing, lights on, TV's on mute, but all the drawers are pulled out in my sister's room. All the drawers. I'm like, I freaked out and I ran to my room and I locked the door and I just waited till my family got home. They were like, what the hell? But they just put everything back. And that happened every day for, I shit you not, 2 weeks. Every day. For Monday through Friday, I would get home, that shit would happen. By the second day, I was just fine. So I would just put the drawers back, turn off the TV, and reopen the doors and turn off the lights. Because I figured if it wanted to hurt me, it would have done it the first time. So that happened for 2 weeks and just stopped out of nowhere. Okay? That's the first part of the story. The second part is years later. I'm talking, God, I was like 18. So, like a decade later, right? I find out my sister Evelyn had been playing with tarot cards at the time of this. She was playing with them at our house. And during this 2-week period, she was seeing things around the house. When she would hang out with friends, she would just see shit. Right? And Emily too. All three of us had these moments during this 2-week span. It was like right after New Year's. But then out of nowhere it stopped. It stopped when Evelyn stopped playing with tarot cards. So that happened.
Was this in the house that I went to once? Like your parents' house? Was that before or after they put all those crosses in the living room?
Those crosses, well, that collection has only grown. That collection was probably half as big.
So you're telling me you had all of those, and spooky shit was still happening in your house?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Yep. Fun times. But see, the thing is, though, is that none of us knew about our experiences until we talked about it when I was like 17, 18. Like, I was like, oh, I got one for you. The house was haunted, blah, blah. And then Evelyn's like, shut the fuck up. And it got real serious. And then she tells her story. And then Emily's like, shut the fuck up, and tells her story. So all three of us had these things that happened for about 2 weeks that just stopped suddenly. So, fun times.
Well.
Yep. Look, I'm not saying...
See, my family would have bolted, like, in the first day. Okay? Like, the first day. Like, not even joke. Like, and that's... Here's what divides us. Here's another thing that divides us. Because by the second day, you were just like, all right, I guess it's just an inconvenience. Like, I'll just put this back where they were. I'll just turn on the TV, I guess. Because if my ass saw like not a door, not a fan, not a TV, if I was just like chilling at home and just from the back, I just heard like a, I would be out of there. Like my ass, like I would be in a different country. Okay. Like, not even as a joke. Like, you wouldn't find me. I would be like neck deep, I don't know, retired in some like I don't know, Buddhist community, like not talking for like 10 years, just like never deal with that again. And that was when I was a kid. Like now, if that happened to me now, if like my TV turned on right now, like by itself, I would just be like, what fucking bills are you paying in this house to fucking with my electricity bill, okay? Why? But that doesn't happen here. You know why? Because I stick to the aesthetically pleasing section of the spooky shit. And that is what I'm going to enjoy for the next 31 days. And the next, and the first 3 of November, because Day of the Dead. So, that's a great story. I never want to hear it again. I don't want to get involved in that shit. No, believe me, if we're hanging out with more people, I would be like, yo, tell them the story. But like, I'm not hanging out with like your sisters or like with the rest of your family ever again. Just you. I'm gonna stay with just you. But yeah, just out of pure fear, out of pure control fear.
All right, remind me for the next review. We're gonna review X, folks. It's gonna come out in a dual review. I got a story about you about me getting killed. I'll tell you the story in the next one. Hint. Spoiler alert.
God.
But let's talk about Hocus Pocus.
Spoiler alert. All right. Let's do a cut there. And then,
all right. You want to introduce us?
Sure. Thank you for welcoming us into your headphones. My name is Chema.
And I'm Billy.
And reviewing Hocus Pocus 2, this is the rollback. So, Hocus Pocus 2, back and more glorious than ever. It's been 29 years since someone lit the black flame candle and resurrected the 17th century sisters, and they are looking for revenge. Now it is up for 3 high school students to stop the ravenous witches from wreaking a new kind of havoc on Salem before dawn on All Hallows Eve. So this is the sequel, 29 years later, of the Disney Channel original movie, or I don't know if it was an original Disney Channel. No, it wasn't, right? It was not. It was in theaters? It was in theaters. I'm sorry.
It was in theaters, and it was considered a bomb.
I just remember it playing non-stop on October during in Disney Channel. And can I tell you something? Can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I never saw it as a kid.
Me neither.
I saw it like on 2018, I think.
Dude.
I was dating someone at the time, and they were like, "You haven't seen it," and they like made me watch it, and I really enjoyed it. But I didn't grow up with it, so I have no sentimental or like what's it called, nostalgia towards the first one. So I was just ready to enjoy this as what it was, not as like a piece of remembrance to like the original one, you know?
Yeah. So, straight up, I'll be honest with you, dude. You know when the first time I saw Hocus Pocus 2? Friday.
When?
Right? Yesterday. You want to know when I saw the first Hocus Pocus? Thursday.
No way.
I had never seen the original. Never. I always saw the trailers for it, but I was never like, oh, I gotta see this. I was like, it's fine. It's whatever, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and it's crazy because, so a little bit of backstory. Hocus Pocus was a complete box office bomb. It was skewered by critics back in the day for its direction, for its writing, for the act, like everything. It was skewered. And it lost the Disney about $16.5 million. But through it being replayed over and over again in Oktoberfest, or Halloween Fest on Disney Plus, on Disney, plus what was then, I think, ABC Family, now it's Freeform. Through just like sheer force of will, this film became like a cult hit, and everyone like came to appreciate it. So much so that demands for a sequel came as early as 2012. They were like, you know what, we should do one for the 20th anniversary. That passed, so they did it for the 29th anniversary, technically, I guess. And yeah, that's how we end up with Hocus Pocus 2, through sheer force of power and will and fandom.
This is one of those movies that like the original one refuses to die. Like, it refuses to go away. It is the visual of these 3 witches is like ever present every time it's Halloween time. Like I think Disney Channel doesn't exist anymore, but when it existed, it was on, and it was on all the time when it was around spooky season. So I know the visual very well, and when I saw the movie, I remember really enjoying it. I thought it was the practical effects were wonderful and really pretty at the time. And of course the performances by the 3 main actresses is like super fun, and like it's so full of energy that those 3 performances have to like live to make a sequel work, because if any of the 3 were missing, this wouldn't work, and they needed to recapture that energy even after all this time. And call me crazy, but I think it really worked. I really enjoyed this one.
It did. So, fun fact about, again, the original that helped fuel this one. So, through the reruns, it actually had the highest rating Disney or ABC ever had for any of its programs on Halloween, at 2.8 million viewers back in 2011. But that was the highest rating they ever had for a Halloween show ever. Like, this film was and is a powerhouse, and it transcends. Like, you know, they're hokey, the acting is a little hokey, it's a little like camp, it's a little over the top, but it works. I'd say this might be the best like Disney Channel. I'm gonna call this a Disney Channel film. I think this qualifies. That's not a snark at it. There's some Disney Channel films that are amazing. You know, you can go back to your childhood. I would say that Hocus Pocus 2 is probably the best film since Wendy Wu Homecoming Warrior. Like in like 2006, I think that's when that film came out.
That's your nostalgia talking.
But like name one movie that like name one Disney Channel original film that you can even remember from like the past 15 years.
Excuse me. Oh, from the last 15 years. I don't think they just stopped making them.
No, they still made them. They did. Like, remember fucking Camp Rock had 3 sequels. High School Musical had I don't know how many sequels. And a reboot. Like, they didn't stop making Disney Channel films. They just stopped being, like, anything worth writing home about. Bro, they made Kim Possible live action.
Yeah. Which one?
They made Kim Possible live action.
Yeah, it was not good. That one was not good.
See, there you go. But this Hocus Pocus is the exception to the rule. Hocus Pocus 2, like, you can even tell, there's a scene when the sisters are flying on their brooms, and it looks like, I know they could have done better effects, but I think they're trying to stick to the effects from the original.
Yeah, it's trying to look. I don't know what the budget for this was. I don't know, but I don't think it was very high, and it didn't need it to be that high because the special effects don't need to look great, and when they do practical effects, they still look great. Like Billy Butcher looks great. Like he looks as good as he did on the first one. Billy Butcherson, sorry, and like scenes, like for example, the eye in the book looks fantastic, and they didn't need to do a lot. They just needed it to be fun, and I think it really worked on that. You mentioned the performances were campy and over the top and great, and this is one of those movies where you can tell that not just the 3 witches, but like every other actor in this movie, you can tell they're having a fucking blast. Like you can tell they're having so much fun, just like. We talked about the same thing when we reviewed that Adam Sandler Halloween movie that came out a couple years ago. You remember the Hubie Halloween? Yeah, that one was a cute movie, and this movie feels kind of on the same on the same page as that because it also takes place in Salem, Massachusetts. It also takes place in present day, but it is so in your face Halloween, like the colors and the costumes and the candy apples, the pumpkins, like the. Also, I gotta give a shout out. Whoever color corrected this movie, I want to give. I said this on my Letterboxd review. I said whoever color corrected this needs an award, a cold crisp Sprite, and a raise because I saw this movie. I saw this movie on this TV, and I have this TV like in front of a window. What does that mean? That I can always see the fucking sun hitting that TV. And this is the first time that I saw something that took place at night. And it looked good. Like I could still tell what everything was happening because they color corrected the crap out of this, and it looks wonderful. There were so many scenes that take place at night, and I could tell everything that was happening. I wasn't lost. It wasn't like a God, what was it called? It wasn't like a fucking Game of Thrones thing. Like it, I could tell what was happening, and I appreciated that so much because that has been a problem with like Marvel movies. It's been a problem with a lot of movies, and. The last Doctor Strange did color correction really well, and they also did it with this movie. Because even though it's dark and it's got a lot of nighttime scenes, the color pops. The color pops so much.
I'm here.
You need that for a movie like this. For a movie that... Oh, God. For a movie that requires that kind of...
Wait, like, give it a sec.
Ambience and atmosphere. So I appreciated the crap out of this. But then, moving the fact that it is visually very pretty, it's so fun. It's so fun. Are you frozen? Ah, oh, puta madre.
I'm right here. Chema, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I took off my video, though, because I don't know if that's fucking with the reception or not.
No, it's me. It was me.
No, I mean, are you still recording?
Yeah, I'm still recording.
Thank God. Okay, yeah, then dude, I'll sync it up and I'll just cut out some part. The last thing I heard that you said was how great the color correcting was, that you could see it on your TV.
Yeah, well, I was saying that the color correction has been a lot better. The ever since they did the same thing with the last Doctor Strange movie, and it looks like so much better. Like I can tell what's happening even when it's dark. So that's great. And then they also did God, where was I? yeah, so besides the visuals looking great, the movie is so atmospheric and fun, and it's got this really cool attitude about it. Like, it's so chill. Like, this is a good movie to like watch to get really in the mood for spooky season. So I appreciate it a lot because of that. And also, I feel like it's a good movie that you can watch like with your parents. You can watch it with like younger family members, but also doesn't shy away from like the darkness of it. Like, something that I really remember about the original one is that it's so open about using the word virgin over and over and over.
Oh,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah,
the
yeah.
blood of this virgin. And then this movie acknowledges that by having this kid saying like, "What's a virgin?" And then the guy from the store is like, "Someone who's never lit a candle." Like,
Using
was
so the
funny.
mom was looking at him like, pick your words very carefully. I thought he was going to say someone that's never been married or something.
someone from Virginia. Yeah.
Yeah, that could have worked. This film is
Yeah.
cute but camp. And also, this film, I was scared it was going to give them the Maleficent treatment, the witches, of like, you're going to
Yeah.
feel sorry for them and root for them. It didn't. It explained their backstory, but all it really did was refine, like, no, like, all they truly ever have is each other.
Yeah.
And, you know, it kind of explains the deep bond. And props to these young actresses, you know, again, that's very hokey, but they pull it off as far as showing the relationship that these sisters have. And then we jump into modern times, and apparently it's common, or like this trope is common. I didn't know. We have three friends. We have Becky, Izzy, and Cassie. And apparently, Cassie is leaving her friends for a boy. Like, she's, you know, goo-goo-eyed over a guy who's admittedly stupid, but like Crunk's stupid. Like, he means well. And she's kind of leaving her friends. And I didn't know this. Nikki pointed out to me. Apparently, that's a common trope in like teenage films.
Like a friend leaves her friend group to hang out with a dude.
Yes.
Well, it happens in real life too.
I mean,
Especially at that age. Especially
That's-
at that age, yeah.
that's what she said too. That's literally what she said.
No, because it's true. I was surprised that that's the angle they took, because I don't know if it's just me, but like when the movie starts and it's the two girls and they're just like talking, and then they see the other girl approaching and then they get really quiet, I went like, oh my god, nice, lesbians. But no, they didn't do that. So they,
It's still like a kid's Disney movie. I wish they would, but you know they won't.
at least
Disney
not
doesn't have
sexually,
the balls.
Yeah. No, but they it's a fairly common trend, but I'm not against it. I think it's rooted in a lot of reality. So it would make sense that that's a thing that would happen and like bother them and stuff. So I didn't mind it really.
Then we get the Salem sisters are back because of Gilbert, who's a bit of a dipshit. Essentially like tricks the girls into lighting a black candle, re-releasing the sisters, and it's nuts because it's almost like they picked up right where they left off at the last film. Like the way they act, their costumes, like
Yeah.
you would be remiss to say like it didn't seem like they aged at all.
Yeah. They really recaptured that same energy. I don't know how much Disney paid them, but whatever it is, it was enough. Because like they showed up to play. Like they didn't show up to.
They came to work.
To just milk it. Yeah, they didn't show up to be like, all right, I guess I'll cash another check. No, they came to this with love and with pleasure. Like you can tell that they were having such a blast while they were filming it. The energy was there. The comedy was there. Hell, even the little introduction part where they have these other actresses play them as younger, they recaptured their energy so well, and the comedy was so fast. It felt like an Edgar Wright movie in some parts. And I really enjoyed it, man. I had a lot of fun with it because everyone was so ridiculously over the top in a great way. From Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, Kathy Najimy, hell to even Tony Hale, who plays the mayor. He's so funny in such a subtle way, and here he plays probably the most wholesome character he's ever played, ever since he played Forky in Toy Story 4. And he was so sweet. I
You're
really like this
trash,
character
just
'cause-
like me.
Because they could have just easily made like, oh, he's the mayor, he's evil. But no, he was he just wanted his fucking candy apple, man. Like,
See, you know what though? I could relate. I understand. Like, I just want this one thing, and everything will be okay.
Yeah.
And then it comes, and it's like you don't get it, and you're just like, you son of a bitch. It didn't happen.
Yeah. It totally ruined.
But so
it ruins the vibe. Yeah.
But so to counter the Sanderson sisters, we have the new coven, I guess, the new kids. We have Ms. Whitney Peak as Becca. We have Ms. Lily Buckingham as Cassie Trask, and Miss Melissa Escobedo playing Izzy. And I'll give them credit.
Nice job on the Escobedo there.
Thank you.
Nice job on the pronunciation there. Yeah.
It pisses me off when people like mispronounce certain things, dude. Now that I'm working at a university, I find for some reason it like gets me when people like mispronounce a name, a certain, Anyway, fucking okay. So back to the story.
Yeah.
So to counteract the Sanderson sisters, these three have their own energy, but somewhat they kind of parallel the Sanderson sisters, where Becca is very much like the high strung, like no this way. We have Melissa, we have Izzy, who's her like quirky best friend, but also very much like her ride or die. You know what I mean? Her friend, but also hey, I've got your back. We're in this together. And then you have the boy crazy Cassie, who's very much the apparent younger version of Sarah, Sarah Jessica Parker's character, who's like boy crazy. There are these parallels between these characters that I like, but they're modern, they're updated, and they're not like overblown. Like if you notice, Sarah Jessica Parker's character isn't as boy crazy in this one as she was in the first one.
Yeah.
It took go for it.
No, go ahead. I had nothing.
I was going to say, and Nikki pointed it out to me that even their color schemes are very like, facing each other. You have Becky wearing green, much like Mary, the main no, not the mayor, Winnie. They're both wearing green.
Yeah.
Cassie and Sarah are both wearing red, and then Izzy and Mary are both wearing very like similar cloaks. Just that there's a lot of mirroring between the three friends and the sisters. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I appreciate that. I think that opens the door for a lot of things in the future, but we'll get to that in a moment.
I do love the color coding. I do love when characters are color coded because it really helps me separate them. And I think Spielberg, when he did it in Jurassic Park, and ever since they've been doing that, so yay. They were great, and they had good chemistry, and they were fun, and I was afraid. I was afraid when the movie started that this was just going to be like the witches coming to 2022 and them being afraid of like the cell phones and making a lot of current day jokes and using probably a lot of current day music, and I don't know, maybe something like that. I was afraid that that's where it was going. And I'm glad that it wasn't, because the original one is weirdly like both dated and timeless at the same time. Like it's very 90s, but at the same time, in the same way, it's also very like it's a time capsule of the 90s. This one doesn't feel like a time capsule of 2022, but in a good way. Like you can watch the original one and then watch this one and just be like, oh, 20 years have passed, but it's a new story. But it's not like, oh look, TikTok, like. It was fun. It was fun in that way, and it didn't try to like appeal to a specific audience besides the people that want to see the second one, which is the people that grew up with the first one, and they know that they don't want to hear a bunch of words that they don't understand, like yeet. So this was good in that way. It succeeded in that.
You know what? Also, I love that they did is that the one time they ever use a phone, they use a filter. And it makes them look younger. Yeah. Like that's smart. Yeah. Like you're right. Like I appreciate the fact that when they do it, the jokes hit.
Yeah, the jokes hit. Like there wasn't a single moment in this movie where I like groaned or thought like, oh, God damn it, fine, Gen Zs will find this funny. Like no, it really was made for any audience in mind, not just one. And I appreciated that. I really liked it because of that. And even me, who is not like nostalgically attached to the original one. I enjoyed it. Like I don't like I said the same thing about the original one. I don't know if I'll ever sit and watch it again. I don't, but I really appreciated watching this, and I feel kind of similarly about this one. I enjoyed both of them, and yeah, I had a good time with this one as well.
What'd you think of the third act? I kind of figured that that when it came to the power spell, there had to be some backlash. And then it became apparent, Winifred, she gained power, but it cost her two sisters. And then she. Okay, look, I want to be very clear about this. I never get emotional or misty-eyed at movies. Rarely do I ever. But in that moment where she said, where they're like, but you have power, she's like, power doesn't mean anything if I don't have my sisters with me. And she's like desperate. I got a little misty-eyed, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was like, oh my god, like, how did they get wiggled into my heart? and then the part where she's begging the new coven, the new witches, please, like, you can create a new spell and bring my sisters back. And they say the spell. Oh, did you say it right? We're not bringing them back here. We're sending you to them. Like, well played.
Yeah.
And she, it's nice, and I can only imagine that fans who grew up and watched this movie on repeat for 20 years, finally getting their sequel and having the chance to say goodbye to these sisters, I can only imagine the emotional highs that this means for them.
Yeah, I thought that the ending was really smart because of that specifically. It reminded me of, I feel like it's a trend going on ever since they did it in Frozen, where they're like, oh, well, the true love is a sister's love, I appreciated that they did that. I like the little goodbye section. So, no, I agree. I thought the ending was really strong. I did not get misty-eyed, I'll be honest. I was shocked because when I told you that I was watching it, you sent me a text and you were like, get the t-shirts ready for the end, or something like that. And, oh god, I didn't know what was going to happen, but I appreciated how it went through. I thought it was well executed. So, I don't have a lot to say on this one. I thought it was really fun, and maybe it's because I watched it today on October 1st, but it really hit. So I had a good time with it.
No, go for it.
I was ready to move on to final thoughts, but go ahead.
No, I'm just going to say I'm willing to bet that there's either going to be a sequel or a TV series sequel because of Rebecca being there. She's way too big. I think she's a plant. Maybe she's going to be like the mentor to the three new witches. Or, and I didn't know this, there's a post-credit scene. I just looked it up. There's a post-credit scene where Cobweb, Gilbert's black cat, hops onto a shelf where there's another black candle, hinting that perhaps the Sanderson sisters will return again.
Look,
in another 29 years.
This is usually the part where I tell you, fuck no. But did you saw that they're making a National Treasure TV show?
I heard about it. I haven't seen anything on it, but I've heard about it.
Okay, because I saw the trailer when D23 happened, and I was like, Jesus Christ, they're making a fucking National Treasure TV show. So I guess never say never, I guess.
Well, see, this could be like the kid-friendly version of Saw, where it's like they make it like an annual Halloween tradition. Like another Hocus Pocus movie. Because remember, Saw for like 7 years came out every fucking Halloween.
Yeah, I remember. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna happen, but if it does, will I watch them? Yeah, but I'm not like... I'll watch it when it comes out. Like, I won't be like, oh my god, counting down the days, Yeah. I feel I feel more good than meh, but I'm closer to meh than great, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think...
Yeah.
I think the Sanderson sisters might be some of the most, like, underrated Disney original characters, like, ever. Like, they're characters. They're characters, though. You know what I mean? Like, they're very, like, the energy that they have. I like it. They're up there with, like, Jack Skellington as far as, like, homie, if that makes sense.
They're a good image. They're a good Halloween costume, too, because, like, everyone would know what you are.
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely seen people dressed up as the sisters.
Yeah, me too. So hopefully now, since we're close to Halloween, I have no doubt that people are gonna see this and be like, "Yeah, last minute Halloween costume, let's go." All right.
Well, I mean, for the stuff that people are gonna buy, Disney's gonna make a mint. You know it.
Yes. Yes.
Final thoughts?
Final thoughts? I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it quite a lot. More for the aesthetically pleasing whole thing of like, I love seeing the fall leaves. I love seeing the pumpkins. I love seeing the costumes. I love that shit. So I can't wait. I know we're so close to Halloween, so I really enjoyed this. It got me really in the mood. 3 out of 5 stars.
Nice. B. I'll probably see it again. Maybe it'll become a Halloween tradition. I always watch it's a new tradition, but every Halloween I make sure that I watch at some point the OG Halloween, the 2018 version, and Halloween Kills. And this month Halloween Ends is coming out, so I'll be sure. Maybe I'll put this in the rotation somewhere.
This is gonna be such a great October because a lot of spooky movies are coming out, and a lot already came out last year. Man. So, and I'm barely catching up because like Smile just came out here, like it hadn't come out. It's barely come out. So I'm hyped. I'm pumped, and we're gonna continue.
I guess I know what we're doing next week.
Yes, and speaking of next, another pseudo scary movie coming in. So also today. So thank you so much for joining us. You can listen to our show on iTunes and Spotify and YouTube, and so many links, so many episodes, so many movies. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Chema.
I've been Eddie.
And this
was the rollback. With a reminder.
Signing off with a reminder that if your friends ask you to play with a Ouija board, you get them some help, you get them some Jesus, and then you get the fuck out of there.
Or you can just play with them.
Unless you're friends with Eddie.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.